You're listening to the Punchline with Kelly Pavlik and James Dominguez, and today we have, I think, an entertaining show. A lot of curious people. Just a couple days ago, people got to see the big fight with Mikey Garcia and Adrian Broner. So I think that's going to take up most of the show today. Also, just let people know there will be no call and no guest today, but next week we got Chrissy Martin and Karen Tate is going to be our guest. And then, we're going to be having Mikey Garcia on, Robert Garcia, possibility of Sean Porter and Paul Malinaji. Just a lot of big guests, and nothing's exactly confirmed yet, but that's what we're looking at. So it's going to be interesting, and I would stay tuned to the Punchline. But I like to get ahead and start rolling on these fights Saturday night.
Well, hi Alicia and hi Danielle. So let's talk about our trip to New York first. Let's talk about that. Let's do chronological order of this. So I was in charge of getting the hotel. Kelly put me in charge, so I went and looked on the hotel page, and I looked at the nicest hotel I could find, and it said Brooklyn. It said Crown Heights. How bad can Crown Heights be? It's Crown Heights, right? We got there, and it was garbage everywhere, bums. It was bad.
And the garbage thing is New York. I mean, that's expected. Even in Manhattan, by the nice areas, by like Parker Meridian, these top-notch hotels, 5-star hotels, you have the garbage. I mean, that's just a big problem. But yeah, James, you're right. I mean, it was fucking horrible, man. And not only that, like the room, the people I seen staying in that hotel. Yeah, and then the beautiful sight of the projects right below you. Now, granted, I mean, I grew up in Youngstown, but it's just, like for us, that's different, man. I've been in New York, but I've stayed in Manhattan again at the top hotels, for like press conferences and stuff like that. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think I lost my hotel privileges after this. The bed had pubes on it and blood on one of the beds.
So I had to make sure I had to change. I had to keep going down. Thank God we only stayed really one night.
Yeah.
But I had like 4 different sheets, and I had to go through the sheets to make sure I didn't find a speck of anything on one. Here's how bad. Like, I didn't even want to get in the shower. To take a shower to get clean. No. I didn't even want to get in the shower. I didn't want to get inside the shower.
I saw a roach in the shower. I just didn't want to say anything, so we didn't leave and go try to find another room and make it worse.
Well, there was no roach in the shower, but that might have been the cleanest fucking thing in the shower, though. But we got through it. We survived.
We did. We had a $40. We had $100 steak.
Yes, we did.
40-ounce steak.
40-ounce steak. So all that leading up, to weigh-ins. It was fun to be at the weigh-ins. I get to talk to a lot of people, and I got to get on Paulie's podcast show, which I think was really good. And this is how we're just starting off in this podcast. This is how we're getting the guests, and it's easier to get to people. Sean Porter, who I've known for a long time, but obviously when he gets to the level he's at and everything else, they're busy. Everybody's schedule's busy, and they're a hot commodity. They're hard to get hold of. So I think it was very successful in that for the show and for the fans to listen to it on the show. And I got to do my interviews, which I think made internet pretty big on a lot of things.
You really did. I really enjoyed the podcast with Paulie. Yeah. I like seeing you guys interact. You can tell you guys are pretty close friends. And then, always when you go to these events, if you've been around boxing, it's kind of like a big family reunion. Everybody just happy to see each other.
Yeah, it is. And, the biggest thrill for me was seeing all the guys from Oxnard, Robert Garcia, Mikey, and the rest of the
family,
the entourage and family. And I was glad to see Mikey win. Again, I can't be biased. First reason, I was a pro fighter.
Oh, you're biased as a motherfucker.
Yeah, and that happens. I mean, it's in everything. Taking nothing away from Adrian Broner. Yeah. I said Adrian Broner is a great fighter, and obviously he is.
He's a good fighter.
He's a former world champion of numerous weight classes and title defenses. I mean, the guy obviously can fight.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him great, Kelly.
Well, not great, but you're a great fighter if you win a world title, man.
Yeah, but if you're picking him up if you're kind of picking him up out of garbage, basically you're not fighting a champion to get him. You're fighting for vacant belts.
Adrian Broner's accomplishments, you could call him a good fighter, a great fighter. I mean, you don't win that many world titles in different weight classes, no matter who he fought. He made it there.
You can beat all the DeMarcos.
He's better than good.
He's good.
He's better than good. Good fighters are good fighters, and they don't win world titles. But being on that part of it, I just thought Mikey, and how I called it, how we all called it, Mikey was going to win that fight and win it convincingly. And I am going to be biased, but I'm not going to be biased when it comes to the scoring.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is, and you have to, especially in the job that we got now with the podcast show and everything else, you have to call a fight how you see it.
Well, our scoring was a little different in the fight. I had
about a round or two.
I think we had a round or two. No, maybe a round.
Yeah.
I had the first round going to Broner and the ninth round going to Broner.
Yeah, and I gave the ninth round to Broner because I actually felt bad, and I don't want people to think I was being too biased. But actually, that ninth round, I could have easily more so gave that to Mikey Garcia than I could have to Adrian Broner. But like I say, I mean, I've been there and done it. I'm not.
Thank you, Steve. We had a good time seeing you too.
Not a regular boxing guy, or just watching that never boxed. So, I'm going to be a fan of somebody, and I have the right to be with Mikey Garcia and his family. And but even with that being said, if it was a close fight and I gave it to Mikey, I could see people saying being biased. But no matter what, this fight turned out where Mikey just won it easy as hell.
Well, the thing was, I wasn't real sure how it was going to go. I mean, with Broner, how he was going to look, and at the weigh-in, when he was getting off the scale, we walked in and he was walking out. He looked awful.
Yeah,
he looked like a zombie. Not good.
And that's funny that.
And so
that's funny. Broner's camp was trying to put the weight problem on Mikey Garcia's camp.
Well, of course
he was having a hard time.
That's one of
that's the tricks, man.
That's one of the tricks that they use. But also, when we saw Mikey in his hotel later that day, we went back to the hotel and hung out with Mikey. He looked happy. He had the color back in his face. He was hanging out, laughing, and showing pictures of fireworks.
Yeah.
So I mean, we had a good time. So I kind of knew from there that we were going to have, it was going to go one way.
Yeah, and then the breakdown of that fight, I mean, it went as I thought it was going to go. Everybody says, I had a buddy of mine, well, I'll say his name, my personal trainer, Lonnie. He said if Adrian Broner would have kept doing that with his jab and that fought like how he did in the first round, that he could have probably won that fight or made it closer. I'm lost on that due to the fact that something happened in that first round where Adrian Broner changed his entire game plan.
He got hit.
Exactly, and so that wasn't going to work for the entire fight.
No,
and he would have got tired a lot faster too.
Did you see what I saw? That Mikey was tracking him down throughout the fight. But even when that jab was slowing Mikey down, but it wasn't stopping him. Mikey was figuring him out. He was going to plan A, he was going to plan B, and plan C.
But even on that, and I agree with you on that, but what I'm saying for what Lonnie mentioned, that wouldn't have worked the entire fight because, first of all, Mikey Garcia is a notorious slow starter in the first round no matter who he's fighting. He's going to fight that way that he did that first round against Broner, against a lot of people. He may throw a couple more punches, though, because the only reason why he didn't throw 2 or 3 more punches that round was because Adrian Broner was on the bike. But he caught Adrian Broner, and I'm going to explain to you why. Adrian Broner makes quick moves, and he's a defensive fighter, yes. But these moves that he was making this fight was not the ordinary moves. He was scared. He was making moves out of being afraid. The flinches and the jolting and everything else. Every time Mikey made a feint, Adrian Broner was moving like that and fainting and jumping out of his skin almost. So that first round, really, if Broner would have fought like that, that fight would have been over, and he'd have been tired quicker too. Yeah,
John Ferruzzi said Broner feels power. He goes in full retreat mode. He can't fight going backwards. That's true, John. Me and Kelly both agreed with that he can't fight backwards, and we both made the point that he needs to find a different trainer. And it's nothing on
Stafford.
It's not on Stafford. Stafford's a great amateur coach, but I leave it as an amateur coach. Him and his pro fighters don't know how to make that step.
He was stuck with the amateur program, I think, too long. Is he going to have a good pro fighter eventually with all the talent that he's got? Fuck yeah, he's going to. So, you're going to get people to say, well, look at the guys that he had pros. He has some guys he made to the top. Well, he had talent too. Stafford is a very, very good trainer, and he's a great amateur trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the little flaws that are happening. But then
well, I think part of the staffer doesn't have control of his camp.
no,
That's a big part. He lets his guys do whatever they want to do.
yeah. But you've just been, and these flaws have been knocked down. Now I also from a couple people, when I called Adrian Broner, they said that he's going to be a gatekeeper. First of all, I'd like to put this out there. That question was building before the guy even started recording that interview.
Yeah.
So I knew I was coming, and I had to bring up gatekeeper because that's the way the interview was going.
Yeah.
From talking to him before the interview even started.
Was that from Dante?
No, this was another guy. Maybe not Fight Hype. Boxing something.
Boxing news?
Or boxing scene.
But you know what I noticed? I noticed a lot of the reporters, they were leading you into questions.
They were.
That you didn't want to answer, and I knew. I said, oh, Kelly's going to take
But
some
it's going to
shit
be
for
my
this.
job, too, for it. And you know what? And I can't get away with it due to the fact that I was a fighter. And yeah, of course, people bring up shit, my fights. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, shut the fuck up, man. I could talk about it because if I got beat by Hopkins and Martinez, so what? I was a fucking pro fighter, world champion. I could make these comments. The same person who's sitting at home fucking talking about boxing. What gives you the right when you never even stepped in a ring or had a meaningful fight?
Well,
but
like the dude I checked yesterday, he said, what is Kelly talking about quitting or whatever? He said he quit in every fight he had. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Dude, you got fucking idiots.
And he said he quit against Hopkins. And I said, well, I told the dude, I said, I looked at your box rec and you're 5-3-2. You need to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, you need to shut the fuck up. I said, maybe if you were more respectful, Kelly would let you come over and shine one of his belts.
Motherfucker working at Walmart's and goes to the gym for 2 hours a day and gets a fight and he's gonna talk shit. Yeah, and that's what. And I get to this point because I get so mad and I say shit like that because of the shit that's out there and the fucking idiots.
Hi Vince. Hey Joe, how you doing? Rachel, nice to see you.
But going back on that, the fight, and then a lot of that gets taken away from Mikey. I mean, Mike, even people were saying
they're already taken away from Mikey.
Well, Broner picked it up at the end of the fight a little bit, which he still lost the rounds, and he did, but he lost the rounds. But even when he picked it up, Mikey, with the footwork and the angles and the moves that he was making, won them rounds.
That's crazy because he was one-dimensional, had no footwork.
Right, exactly.
Remember that?
Yeah, he outboxed the boxer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, Mikey was a boxer.
Yeah,
he's a boxer-puncher. Mikey will tell you he's not a knockout artist.
The only complaints that I have on, or digs that I have on Mikey's fight,
the body punching.
It was the lack of body punching, and that could have been a difference and maybe even a late stoppage.
I think he was kind of hurting himself by not going to the body.
Yeah. And then again, we both talked on that, leaving that, not only just the jab that he was leaving out there, but sometimes he was leaving that right hand out there also. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, our job is, as a boxer, a former fighter, is I'm going to find, no matter how good the performance is, my job is also to kind of find something that was wrong in that.
Well, the problem is they don't give Mike even a chance to relax. They're already talking about how Crawford's going to come kick his ass. Yeah. The dude hasn't even been home, barely been home yet. Leave him alone.
Haters, man. Listen.
And I said, you know what? Crawford has his work cut out with him moving up and fighting Errol Spence.
The reason why I don't get as mad as some comments I read on threads, because a lot of them go 60-40, 50-50. A lot of people like me and like my career, and a lot of people don't. And it goes with any fighter. I mean, Mikey Garcia is a great kid. And then there's a lot of other fighters out there, like even Paulie, that are just respectable, all-around solid people. But you're always going to find that group of fucking idiots on leaving comments talking shit about these people.
Well, you know what? We have Virgil Ortiz that just entered the show. You know Virgil? He's one of the top. He was one of the top amateurs in the country in history. Yes. And now he signed with. I believe he's with either Golden Boy or Top Rank, but I think he's already 4 or 5-0. He's amazing fighter. Thanks for coming on.
I've already heard, man. Good luck with everything. Maybe one day get him on for the interview.
I'd like to get Virgil on as soon as possible for an interview. And also, yes, Alicia, we do need to get Brian on.
Tell Alicia to get his contact info.
Alicia, get Virgil's contact info. You're from Texas like him. Sweet talk him. Also, we'll get Brian on too.
But yeah, I mean,
it said that you broke Rico Kaysen's rib with a nasty body shot. Brian Watson, that's from Youngstown Boxing.
Yeah, that was a fight. Yeah, that was in Niles, that fight. That was a brutal body shot.
Yeah, we could get Brian on. I like Brian Vera. You like Brian Vera?
Yeah.
Alicia has his phone number. I know you would have it, Alicia. you glove bunny, you.
Oh God.
We need to get Jamel Herring too on the show.
Yeah, you need to get a lot of people, but there's only so much time to be able to do it.
But I think, and all these people. And here's where we're gonna have some trouble. I know I'm gonna hear it, but a lot of people were saying Crawford's gonna do this. Crawford's gonna. You know what? I don't give Crawford that much of an advantage over Mikey, if any. I think you're looking at an even fight right there.
What I said with a lot of fighters too, and I've done this is, and a lot of times I've came true on this, or I ended up being right. You have to put Crawford in a top 6, 5 or 6 pound for pound. But at the same time, I'm really having a hard time until I see him against another like a big name fighter go in there and like totally dominate.
Yeah.
I am personally not saying that he's not. I'm just not sold on him yet. You know,
Virgil Ortiz said Kelly Pavlik, you're the man.
Thank you, Virgil. Appreciate it, bud. And again, I'm gonna be paying attention. We're gonna get you on the show. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm just not. If Crawford goes in, and I kind of said the same with Earl Spence. So I said that I know he's good, but in that fight with Kell Brook, you got to say, man, this dude is legit. The power, everything else is legit. And Crawford, if he gets into that, if he moves up a weight class, which I don't know if he is now.
They're talking about him moving 147.
I heard, and I thought it was more. I thought it was more of a possibility a month or two ago, but now there's talking about more fights at junior welterweight for him. So who knows with that? But Crawford, Mikey Garcia, I would honestly have to favor, because Crawford's a big kid, but he's not big bone. I mean, he's tall. He's not he don't remind me of a strong fighter. Like,
well, what did we talk about? Yeah, you're right. He's not.
No, I don't think that's going to bother Mikey.
But what did we talk about where Crawford's weaknesses lie? We noticed it. And
he don't like to get backed up.
He doesn't like to be backed up, and when he is, he runs out of it and doesn't get out of it the right way.
He expends nervous energy.
And he's been hit with left hooks backing out multiple times, and just the guys he's fighting can't do anything, don't have the talent, or don't hit hard enough to make him pay for it.
I see only a couple right now in those ways where Mikey's at. I don't see, because Mikey's not at the welterweight division. Okay, so even at junior welterweight, I see Crawford as the biggest threat.
Yes, John.
Mikey has a great style, and he fights. I mean, I haven't seen anybody beat Broner the way Mikey.
And I think Mikey does better with people who can box less.
Yeah.
Or less of a mover.
So what I'm saying, I mean, there's fights out there though. I still take Mikey, not being biased. I take Mikey over Lomachenko.
Just because of size?
By close, mainly because of size, and I don't want Mikey to get mad at me. I mean, Lomachenko, I haven't seen guys do what he does. But at the same time, again, going on that, Mikey is just a very good fighter who, being with his size and natural size and speed, I see that winning him against Lomachenko. Other than that, man, I'm not saying this. I don't see too many people out there right now beating Mikey Garcia.
I think when he starts getting to 147, I think you'll start seeing the odds even out.
Yeah.
When you start getting here there with guys like Errol Spence and maybe a Keith Thurman.
Yeah, Errol Spence is a big. I mean, I stood next to him.
Yeah.
I'm 6'1 1/4", which is 6'2", and I mean Errol Spence. It was he's
every bit of 6 foot.
Yeah, 5'11". And none of that. He's a big kid. But yeah, you're starting to get into that. Which. But that's if the fights eventually be there. Think about Mikey's. He don't give a shit though. He'll go. Mikey, as he said in the post-fight conference, he wants to fight anybody. That's if you want that name in boxing, if you want to go down in the record books, those are the moves that you have to make. And Mikey is knowingly of that. I mean, but there was nothing in that fight where I just didn't see anything. I mean, even at the end, when people say that Adrian Broner picks it up and that's when he tries to take the late rounds, I seen him doing that against Mikey, but he was walking Mikey down like the last 45 seconds, minute of the round, but he wasn't really doing anything. He threw maybe 2. He threw the right hands out there. He didn't even turn on him. And it looked like he was walking Mikey down and doing more, but he didn't throw anything. Mikey frustrated him with the footwork.
Yeah, you know what, Kissa? I'm pretty sold on Errol Spence. I've seen him do other things in the gym and things like that. He is a legit world champion. He is going to be a great one. And Vince says Mikey beats Danny Garcia. I think Danny Garcia has his work cut out. They're talking. They're actually talking right now, Brandon Rios and Danny Garcia, and I think that'd be a slugfest.
Oh yeah,
I heard Brandon Rios.
I think it was.
Oh, well.
But
it's in talks. There's nothing signed. You know what I mean?
Would that be? Yeah, Danny Garcia is a tough dude. I'm sorry. I think I like Mikey or Danny. I don't. I think using that fucking term again. I'm not even going to say that word, but I think Danny Garcia is a good stepping stone right now, right below world championship level and world championship level.
Yeah.
And I think he's a hell of a
he's
test.
And
that's not a bad thing. When I say that, like for instance, when I called Adrian Broner a gatekeeper now, and I was kind of pushed.
He's a gatekeeper from contender champion.
But being a gatekeeper, you're making great. That's a great thing to be a gatekeeper. I mean, you're still making great money. Okay, very good money, and you go in there and beat one of these up and coming kids again. You're right back in the. That springs you right back into world title fights and winning world titles.
Cameron, how is Crawford too versatile for Mikey? Mikey didn't prove to you at any point that he was an elite boxer or had great movement?
He's asking me that.
Cameron's saying Crawford is too versatile for Mikey, for me. Although Crawford doesn't face a legit puncher yet. At what point did we not see Crawford be more versatile than Mikey? I think Mikey showed that he was one of the most versatile in the division.
That's it. Because Mikey's not flashy to people, though. I mean, but he makes the moves. You're not going to be versatile against Mikey because he's going to beat you. Anything that you move or strategy you got, Mikey's going to beat you to that. And I'm befuddled on that.
Well, Carl, you can't make people fight, People are not exactly lining up to fight Spence. I mean, that's the case of it. Spence puts the challenges out there, and it just doesn't happen. Making a fight is hard work.
And what's scary about a guy like Spence is when you get a guy that can box and punch like that.
I agree, John.
You know what I mean? That makes it hard to beat a guy like that.
Yeah.
It makes it hard for people who want to take that fight. Usually if a guy is a big power puncher, you kind of go, well, you know what, if we could do this and stay away from this. But when you get a guy that can box and punch like a Spence.
And he's fast. The kid's fast. And
that's what I'm saying.
And he has a great chin. I mean, he has almost every tool that you don't want to mess with.
Even if you have the greatest training camp and you go in there and he just starts doing things, you're kind of like, your brain just goes shit.
The one thing I noticed on Spence, if you don't either, he's a slow starter too. And to beat him, I think you would have to jump on him right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only chance you have. Because you only get about one round, maybe two out of Spence before he has you figured out, tracked down. And not just that, he's a humble kid. I mean, very rarely have I met somebody in that status that's that humble.
That's what I'm saying. But on some boxing websites and media outlets, I'm sure you're going to see
that he's outlandish.
He's an asshole and he sucks and he's a bum and everything else.
Not to mention that he told when he was saying that you were one of his favorite fighters, that when you fought Taylor, it made him want to become a pro.
Yeah. See, I get a little when fighters are cool.
Cameron, I think that would be a great fight.
I get a little biased towards them.
And I think Thurman can match Mikey power for power. I think it would come down to what Thurman shows up. The Thurman that boxed like he did against Danny Garcia, or the Thurman that ran backwards, almost got knocked out.
For Mikey? You're talking about Mikey fighting that?
Thurman.
Again, for me right now,
power for power, though, I think they're about even.
Well, not even. No, I mean, I gotta maybe because Mikey's fighting at the weight that he's fighting at. But
thank you, Alicia.
I can't. I mean, that matchup right now, I got to see Mikey slowly climb up the ranks at 140 and some fights at 147. I mean, dude, that's a big.
That's a big jump. 7 pounds are a huge jump. It's one of the biggest in boxing.
Yeah.
Other than 54 to 60, I think that's a bigger jump.
So I mean, you're talking about a guy like Thurman, who's walking around
180.
Yeah, 170.
Well, Mikey's 165. Mikey's walking.
So I'm talking about when you look at just frame.
And he belongs at 165.
When you're breaking down, so
yeah, not Taco 165, right?
I mean, talking about Mikey fighting anybody at 147 right now, it's just too early, too premature to talk about.
Yeah, well, Mikey, I don't think wants.
I think he's going to eventually have to move to that weight class. I think if Crawford moves up from 140 to 147, I think Mikey eventually is going to have to go grab some belts at 140 just for the collection and stats of a different weight class, and then make your way to 147.
Mike says Sean is the odd guy in the mix. And you know what? You're exactly right, Mike, but Sean Porter is probably the most dangerous in the mix.
He is.
Because you don't know what you're going to get from Sean.
The strength, because of the natural size of him, I'm talking about not the weight class he fights at, but what he walks around at, his conditioning, and his speed. I mean, he's fast, but he don't seem fast because of his fighting style and the way that he puts pressure on you and suffocates you. That's a hard style to beat, and you got to know going into a fight that you are physically strong and conditioned to have to win a fight against Sean Porter.
Yeah, exactly. And Josh Patton said you should give a shout out for fans to keep an eye on some of the amazing fighters who are not yet marketed, like Naoya Inoue and Kenneth Islam, both beasts. You know what? We talk about Inoue a lot. He's one of my favorites, actually. Yeah. Also, keep an eye on Junto Nakatani, who's an amazing fighter.
Yes.
I've actually been in camp with him and watched him train. But yeah, Inoue is going to be on the pound-for-pound list, or if he's not, he's going to move up the list pretty soon.
It's hard with some of these networks, so they don't put these guys on. It's hard to find them.
Japanese, now, they don't like to leave Japan because they make more.
But today, you can go on YouTube, though, and you'll see fights with these guys, you know what I mean? But it's still hard,
well, look at Rudy. He's at that team, Team Tekken?
Yeah.
And they have all the Japanese fighters, even Chocolatito's fighters. They stay in Japan because they make twice what they make here, and they don't have to make as big challenges. You can fight another Japanese guy for $500,000 in your 11th fight.
Yep. Oh, hey, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back on the Punchline with Kelly Pavlik and James Dominguez.
All right, and I'll see you guys soon.
Kelly Pavlik and James Dominguez, and this segment I'm gonna let James touch on some other things.
I really wanted to touch on. I saw an interview with Robert Garcia this morning, where he was talking about the whole promotion. He was angry with the promotion, how they were being set up. He felt that they were being set up to lose to Broner. And if you kind of, I don't know if you did, if you noticed that it was kind of going in that direction. If you've noticed, I had security kicking Robert's people out, but not telling Broner's people anything. You know what I mean? Broner's people could kind of congregate anywhere they wanted, and security wouldn't say anything. Robert's guys from Oxnard congregate. The security was there to break us up, kick them out of the media room. Do you remember they kicked us out? So.
Well, they let, what was that, team all over in the lobby, though.
And they were trying to move us out of the lobby.
Yeah, I don't know. I would imagine, I mean, promoters have that pool. I mean, hell, you go back to even judges and shit like that for fights. I mean, the promoters have in their pockets who they want to judge the fight, and that's where you see a lot of bad decisions come into play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's boxing, and it's been that way for hundreds of years, or over 100 years. It's just, who knows, though? I mean, I don't want to tap into that as being, or we'll never get floor seats on the media.
Oh, yeah, but... No, I'm repeating what they were saying. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
not saying that's a fact.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, Robert said that they woke Mikey up at 7 o'clock the next morning.
If Robert Garcia said that, Robert Garcia has no reason to lie.
He doesn't.
Secondly, his fighter won, so I mean,
he definitely had.
So why would he make any excuses?
Yeah.
I mean, his fighter won convincingly and looked great.
Well, he said he was angry about being woke up at 7 in the morning, Mikey.
Yeah,
Robert, 4 o'clock his time.
That's a very reliable source if that's coming from Robert. So
it was. He said it live on Ellie, with Ellie video. You can look it up on YouTube, if you guys want to, whoever wants to. But he was saying that he woke up at 7 a.m. and that's 4 a.m. his time, and he went to go do a photo shoot, a radio show that had no bearing on the promotion.
Yeah.
And then he was out for 8-10 hours that day. This is the day before a weigh-in now, right? And Broner had nothing. Broner was in bed laying on his ass all day long. So,
or probably able to go lose weight. You know what I mean?
Well, Robert had Mikey. They were running all day long, and they're saying, "Hey, this is kind of being set up to not work in our favor." You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I had no problem with the promotion. I thought the promotion treated us fine, didn't you?
Yeah. Obviously, and but you know that's again that happens in boxing, especially when you get that. Man, it's crazy. Like,
Hi, Amy.
All the little tactics that go into when you get to that level, man. It's kind of like, yeah, you're a fighter and you're by yourself, but there's just so many little tactics. Like, yeah, for instance, when I fought Martinez, the weigh-in was supposed to be at 1. Martinez camp knew how bad we were struggling to make weight, and he didn't care, and the commission didn't say anything. He came down like an hour and 15 minutes late to the weigh-ins.
Yeah.
Now, how the commission don't have any saying in that or make him get down there to that weigh-in? We were standing there. It was the biggest crock of shit, but that's because they knew that we had a hard time making weight and make us wait longer and dehydrate. And it happens.
So, what did you think about the Jamal Charlo fighting a one-legged fighter?
I can't talk on that because we were running around trying to find the media room.
I did watch the fight, though.
I didn't. Yeah, I
You
did
know
not
what?
get a chance to get back.
People are coming down on Charlo for it. And I go, it's not Charlo's fault. He did his job. The guy still chose to fight, being injured, right? He chose to get in there and fight. Charlo is doing what he's supposed to do, and that's knock you out. Now, that being said, we've seen Charlo how many times in person? 2 or 3 times?
Yeah.
And every time that we've seen him, there's always been some kind of drama going on with that camp. Like, I don't know what it is with them. DC, they had it. And then now this time they're fighting with Andrade in the
Again, that's not my spot to talk shit on. But
we're not talking shit, but this is what we do. You know, we report these things, you know.
Nah, stay away from that part of the. I'll let you do that. That's your.
That's what I do.
Go.
I mean, I'm not saying anything that's out of school or not a fact.
You know, that was his first fight at middleweight?
Yeah.
So, I mean, also you got to understand, he's a weight class is a big difference. I mean, you've seen numerous fighters not carry their power or anything up to their weight classes. It's too early at the middleweight division to start knocking him and his performance. I mean, now his next fight, depending on the opponent, if he's average in his fight or subpar, I mean, then that's when you kind of start knocking him on it. But that was the first fight into that weight class. And
what I'm trying to say is physically he doesn't have any issues. I think mentally there's some issues there. There's something going on why he has to be so fucking combative and angry.
But a lot of these things though, we're hearing word of mouth.
We heard in the hallway.
Well, that. But I'm talking about the things like when they're out and.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm
Yeah.
talking about what transpired on fight night in New York.
Yeah.
The hallway and then in DC, you know what transpired.
Yeah.
And then the comment he made in that fight he made.
And
in
do you
Texas.
think that's a lot? Now, also with that, every time those incidents happened, it was the team, the entourage surrounded by him.
They helped.
Yeah.
But
So
he was
is it
making-
really him, or is that?
He was making comments too.
Yeah. But maybe the team started and
Of
fired
course.
back and replying back to.
But part of him being the fighter, being the boss, right, is keeping order, telling your team, hey,
Yeah.
we can't be doing this. Shut the fuck up.
I used to tell my team
Shut the fuck
on a
up.
lot of things. You know, I used to tell them, don't bother these people, don't call top rank, and they took it amongst themselves to do that.
And you fire him.
Yeah, I mean, how many times you tell them.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of times when people are in camp like that, they begin to think that they're just as important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That they're really important. And I've seen that too. You get that air, they get that air of I'm untouchable because I'm part of Kelly's camp, and I can go ahead and make deals for him because I want to be part of things. You know, when I'm in camp with someone, or it's not my business.
Yeah.
My job is to train. My job is to hold mitts. My job is whatever. You know, my job is to go get fucking fruit. They tell me whatever.
Yeah.
My job is not to call Top Rank or Golden Boy.
Oh, exactly.
I don't give a
That's
fuck.
not your job, and for whatever your personal problems are at home or in your, that don't fall on me. Like, your job is with the team. I mean,
Yep.
you don't work at Giant or Wendy's and fucking go to the manager. Hey, my dog is sick. I gotta take him to the vet. Can I get extra $200 this week? It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So me personally, again on that. Witnessing that happen, I mean, I can't put I guess I put it on team, on the team.
I think that's when you need a strong manager on the team that lets everybody know.
Yeah. Or a good PR person,
Yeah.
somebody there to run that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that does affect. I mean, obviously, like to me, I know through experience that you can't blame everybody. The fighter is the one that gets blamed. 'Cause his name's on the end of the team, and they get, like, for instance, just anything outside of the ring. You know how easy it is to blame.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, for somebody like even like how you've seen it, for any person, it's just human nature. They see that happen. The first source is the guy, the fighter, the man himself. But. And who knows? It may, dude, I'm not disagreeing. I mean, it may be.
He was running his mouth with him.
It may be him, but I can't speculate.
You know, I saw Andrade there, and I saw them saying stuff back and forth, but then I saw it keep going and getting bigger. Then Jamal's brother wants to jump in too, and then the whole crowd starts going. I just think, these are people you have a business relationship with. You would want to be on the best foot possible.
Yeah, you want to. You could lose a lot of fans, but anymore in this day and age, bad guys sell tickets.
Broner said you're going to pay to watch him anyway.
Yeah. Any questions?
Let me see. Anybody have any questions today that they want answered?
Do you want to ask Dave over there about the MMA fights?
Well, Dave did watch the UFC fights. He watched Cormier and Jones. What did you think about the fight?
I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought Cormier had a little more offer than he did, but it's not much to say. He did. I don't know if it was him or his camp. They'd consult about the amount of inactivity he had during the time. You know, was it 2 fights in 2 years?
Yeah.
But same goes also to say with Jones. But I just think Jones was staying active. He was probably more. You know, you're always hungrier before you get the belt. You know, he wanted it back. He had a lot more to prove. I think I see Cormier retiring after this, to be honest.
I just see John Jones as that next level athlete where you can go get coked and baked out of your mind and still perform at a high level. Do you know what I mean?
This has been going. That isn't anything new. That's been going on for years and years in the NFL, every sport. It's just now it's coming more to the mainstream.
And just John Jones did the whole Dave Chappelle. And ran when he got caught. You know, he got caught, took his money, left the girl there on the road, and ran with a bag of coke and some cash.
So, I mean,
real things that happen out there, you know.
It's funny though, but everybody counted John Jones out coming back. And let me tell you why I like John Jones. I like John Jones because he sticks to his principles. He said he hates fucking Dana White. Guess what? He fucking hates Dana White. He don't have shit to say to him.
I think I seen him push him way in the ring when he went to say something. I'm not sure, but I could have swore I seen that out of the corner of my eye. Like he came up to talk to him, and he kind of gave him the like he didn't have anything to say.
Yeah, John Jones said Dana White's not the boss. He's a figurehead. I got nothing to say to him. He said I've talked to the real bosses. You know, Dana White falls on hard times, has a problem. You don't hear from Dana White. John Jones gets his shit together and wants to fight again. Now he's his best buddy again. Yeah. People see through that shit. You know what I mean?
Who's that remind you of? Don King pulled that.
Don King, Bob Arum.
Yeah, right.
You know that's what promoters do. But the UFC was such a smaller entity where it was more of a homegrown, family-based thing where they actually felt close. In the beginning.
At one time, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think they tend to get more hurt, you know, because MMA fighters. If you've ever noticed, I'm not saying anything like on boxing, but they tend to be closer to their trainers, more respectful of their trainers than boxers are.
You think that's they spend more time together?
They spend more time together. Yeah. And, I mean, they actually spend time, like, living together.
Hanging out together. Everybody travels in that small...
You see, like, with boxing coach goes home. Unless they're kids, they usually move in with them, whatever. But as a pro, they go home, and they go home. Not so with these guys. They go to camp with their trainer. They live with their trainer in their house. And
see, I don't know.
It's a different type of. I think it's part of that whole martial arts.
I was just going to
philosophy they have. You know,
even in the jiu-jitsu community, we do everything together. We go to we train, go to lunch. If there was something going on, an event, whether it was friends or family, everybody was invited. The whole gym came along. So I do see that in the martial arts community, people being more close knit. Not to say that they're not in the boxing, but
no, it's just different.
It's a different camaraderie that everybody has. That they stay together and work together.
How you doing, Darren James? It's Darren. He said he finally found us guys live. And Brian has a question about body shots. How much in the head of a boxer that they might not get full credit for as much as the head blows? I've seen some fighters work the body and get robbed. Most notable Bones Allen versus Paulie Allen in the fight. Go ahead, Kelly. You can catch that one.
That all depends. You know, obviously the amateur boxing, they didn't count it for a while there. Body shots, to me, I count them. I could, from a judging standpoint, I would count them. But, you know, body shots also, a good body puncher is setting himself up to win the fight because it opens everything else up.
He's banking.
It tires the fighter out. It starts bringing the arms down. It starts setting up other punches to the head and combos. A good body puncher has a very good chance of winning every fight that he fights because of that. Body punching is legit. I count it, and I mean, it's a punch that you're throwing and you're hitting the other person's body, and especially you can start seeing the air coming out of a fighter. I mean, how you do not count that or say a fighter is winning a round on that, I don't know. But yeah, that's a really good question that you ask. I would imagine that you're going to get some judges that obviously have a different opinion on the body punches, and you're going to get some judges that agree with me that it's a very big thing in boxing to work the body and use it.
Well, I think boxing is an ever-evolving entity.
Yeah.
And you're going to get the judges from back in the day with Stanley Christodoulou and some of those older judges where they didn't rely so heavy on body work. It wasn't as big deal. They didn't score for it. But now you're getting this new generation of judges, you know, Patricia Jarman, you know, some of these other guys that come in here and then they're starting to score it more. You're starting to see it more.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like you look at in the fight, like, is this guy a body? I mean, how does he work the body? That's the first thing that I go for watching a fighter. Like, does he work the body? I mean, because the body again is a big factor in setting up an entire fight.
Yeah.
Along with the jab.
Anytime, Darren. Thank you. It is. I mean, and you know, we always talk about banking. You're banking your punches when you're hitting the body. You're banking. You're putting the punches in the bank for later.
Yeah.
And I think with that Mikey fight, like we were talking about, I think Mikey could have made it an easier fight if he went to the body.
Even probably a stoppage. I mean, plenty. If you're not hitting the body and you're hitting those elbows and you're hitting them arms, you're just making it a lot easier.
You know what? And they say, oh, he didn't hit the body. He hit his elbow or his arm. That fucking hurts.
That hurts.
Who the fuck?
That fucking hurts more than hitting the body. It truly does.
In martial arts, it's a tactic that they use. They'll attack the elbows and the joints before they even hit anything else.
Boxing does it too.
So, I mean, it makes sense. Physically, it makes sense.
Yeah. Smart trainers. Not every trainer. Smart fucking trainers. Robert Garcia is one for this too. Emmanuel Stewart, hitting the heart. Hitting the guy right in the fucking heart. Right below the throat. You hit him in the heart, and guess what? That heart does
Marciano was the start of hitting people in the side delt.
Yep.
Now, okay, you know, like in kickboxing, how I can remember when I, just for a short down on it, on the side of the leg. Yeah. And it's the same thing for us in boxing, using somebody's arm.
Yep.
Right on that side delt. Marciano was notorious.
Yep.
And people would keep their hands up like that.
You out.
And he'd hit you right in that spot.
So you were just...
Yeah, you had this
round.
Not even by a round. I mean, that side delt, because that's where all of your extension and as soon as you pick your arm up, you can feel it. And even after a round of just getting hit in that, holding them arms up, this was like this.
Yep.
I mean, that's where you're going.
You
with
lose
it.
Pedro Hizzo was notorious for he'll clean your legs out before you even hit anything else. The fight was over before anybody.
And you'll see a lot of guys. I go out. I tell my guys, what forearms? You have these forearms up. Hit them right on the bone of the forearms. You keep hitting there, it hurts. It's starting to bruise and get sore. You don't want to, and then it's getting harder to close your gloves.
I was say your fists.
Your gloves are not want to close.
You lose hand control to
keep it. You know what? It might take you 5 rounds to get your results because that's the guy's strong. He's a professional fighter, strong, but you're gonna get results. You know, if you just be patient.
Sure.
Punches on the hip pointer. They're legal as hell to hit somebody on the belt line. You hit them on that hip pointer, it's a bad day.
The hip was a notorious one to hit.
And listen up, people out there. We're giving you guys $1 million advice for you guys, young fighters out there.
I was going to say...
MMA and boxing.
As far as, in your own opinion, both of you, do you feel like it's coming up in the amateurs, they tend to headhunt more than
Oh, yeah. We don't get scored for.
They neglect the body. Because for a while there, I think now with the scoring that they're doing...
It's more professional based.
Yeah, it's more professional based. But when they had this point system... I mean, that's why kids went to the
computerized.
Now, there was a couple amateurs, and I give them credit. Like a Hanshaw was notorious body puncher, and That's why he was stopping people and just opening up points to the head by the third or fourth round, because he had kids scared, you know, in the amateurs. The amateur kids, they ain't even really used to getting hit to the body, and he's in there digging them body shots and taking air out of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, he would accumulate his points the last 2 rounds.
So you're saying an experienced fighter, or even somebody with a lucky shot, can stop a fighter with either a headshot or a body, just depending on.
Body's brutal, man. And you guys see who was the kid that asked about the Rico Kaysen fight?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a brutal body. I mean, you're not getting up from that, you know.
Yeah, you know, you hit somebody in the liver.
And mainly for an orthodox fighter. Orthodox fighter stands at a better advantage to throw body punches than a southpaw does.
He's away from all the vital spots.
Well, the left hand is closer to the liver. It's easier torque and quicker combo. If you're a southpaw now, I guess orthodox, now you're going to the opposite side and with your sneaky punch. You know, in other words, you'd have to throw a wide hook to this side, and you're taking a chance of getting caught.
Exactly, Carl. Salido is notorious for dropping that hip shot, but you know, Mikey, when he fought Salido, he said that those body punches wore him. It took him almost 2 weeks to recover from Salido's body work. But the best at dropping those hip shots, my opinion, it's not worth 2 cents, but my opinion is Felix Trinidad was the best at dropping those hip shots. He that was part of the reason he stopped Fernando, was because he kept dropping hip shots every time they tied up. Yeah,
you learn that too when you're tied up. You know, that's another thing with boxing. Not comparing it by no means to a grappler, but you learn holds, you learn different techniques and how to use their momentum against them and position yourself, and even the legs, you know, kicking the inside leg out, the knee. And
I was just going to say, you kick the inside knee out with your knee, and it opens them up to a hook to the chin.
Everything.
Their body automatically, I mean, it's just, there's nothing you could do. Your body just kind of flaps open. But
that's old school 1930s shit.
And that's going to be some shit, you know, in clinches, believe it or not, in this fight with Conor McGregor, that McGregor is not really going to know, due to the fact that he's not really done those moves in a stand. You know,
thank you, Brian.
He can't hip toss Floyd, so you know. But Floyd's going to know these little technique.
Floyd is a master of all those.
Exactly.
Or being in the clinch and grabbing someone's elbow and just moving the elbow out of the way. That's huge. And people, they get in that clinch and they tighten everything up, but they don't tighten their arm. They just sit there and they get their elbow moved and they get hit right to the.
Yeah, like I said, I'm anxious to see how this is going to turn out. I think it was thrown together quick for Hollywood, quote Hollywood purposes. You got two completely different styles, completely different sports.
You know, somewhere in the back of my head, Skinny, I agree with you on that. Like, you know, the more I'm really thinking about, like, this is going to be an awkward fucking style for Floyd.
I don't think it's going to be a very interesting. It's either going to be very interesting.
But Floyd is still going to whoop the shit out of him, though. I mean,
thank you, Darren. We appreciate that.
I just don't think he's going to whoop him as much as I originally thought. But I still think Floyd's going to beat the shit out of him.
I'm anxious to see what happens.
Well, you know what? The thing about this is, I'm hearing from the rumor source. I'm hearing from some of the top guys at Showtime at the fight this weekend. You know, when you're meeting, you listen in on everything. You know, and I'm hearing that this fight is not going to do as well as they think it is. There's some. I'm saying it's going to do great.
Sure.
But it's not going to meet the expectations of what some people are saying. They're saying 9 million people are going to. They ain't going to be like that, and they're not even. They haven't even sold out on tickets yet.
That's the scuttlebutt you were saying that if the tickets are.
Right. Well, you know what?
It's hard to.
Have you looked at ticket prices? $750 for up in the top deck.
That's what I'm saying. This all has the makings of a Hollywood Rocky 7, because I can't see people spending.
Tickets
this much
are more
money
expensive for this.
For two fighters that have come from completely different worlds, completely different universes.
Tickets are more expensive for this than the Manny Pacquiao fight and Mayweather.
But where you're forgetting, again, is because since how long now, boxing and martial arts. And you mentioned this.
Bruce Lee or Mike Tyson.
Yeah, you mentioned this on the episode before last, and I'm not going to lie to you. Do I think it's the greatest thing as far as for boxing? Absolutely not. But again, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, this is the biggest talked about fucking thing. I mean, wherever I go, people that I've known that never followed combat sports at all are asking, who's going to win this fight?
Okay. When's it stop, and who's the next mega fight? Is this going to be the next big thing? It's going to be not just boxing, not MMA. Now let's get the two together.
It's the whole PT Barnum
aspect.
aspect.
I think so. And whatever
hybrids. It's the whole P.T. Barnum aspect of trying to sell something that people
And
don't
then we're
want.
gonna always have this conversation. Well, I don't think John Bones Jones could fight
Listen,
whoever, Mikey
but-
Garcia. You know what I mean? It's just
But you got to
how's
remember
that
this.
matchup,
You got to
you know?
remember this too, though. I
Size
mean,
difference.
these MMA fighters ain't getting paid what they should be getting paid for in their profession,
so they're jumping
and,
ship.
and they don't give a
Chasing
fuck
money.
if they lose or not. Yeah, you offer another guy out there. Give me a fairly big name in MMA, and you say, hey, we're gonna have you go fight Canelo Alvarez.
That's what I was just saying.
Now you're gonna make
We're gonna have Nate
1.3.
Diaz fight Canelo.
Yeah,
Alvarez,
you're
you
going
know?
to make between $800 and $1 million for your fight against the other top opponent in MMA, or you go fight Canelo for a $25 million. What the fuck you think they're going to
That's
do?
what I'm
But
saying.
see, the UFC is not stupid. They realize this, and now
He's there.
they're promoting that too, and they're going to make money off the back end. That's what they did. The UFC is making a shit ton of money because they're promoting. They're helping promote now. They're co-promoting it. Instead of losing the guy, they'd rather co-promote it than they
Yeah.
would lose him.
Yeah.
And they know what they're doing.
do a partnership. I mean,
The UFC are fuckbags. Let's be honest. We're not going to get credentials to anything in the UFC anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's just be fair. They're fuckbags. When you are the only guy on the street, you can set prices and you can pay people what you want.
Exactly. And I still don't know how to this day.
If you were the only Italian,
Nobody's jumped into that. And
they try.
I know, but I'm saying how.
You got Bellator and you have a few
I
other.
thought Bellator's right out of the UFC.
Yeah,
and,
but they
and,
bought
and
him.
they go up and down. Yeah, like you said, if you just said there was a buy out there, then that makes sense because I kind of fell off the radar with following them. You know, their fight series just because of things like that. You know.
Yeah.
1 minute they're doing a couple shows a year, and then you don't hear anything, or
It's true, and even if they don't buy them directly, they buy the fighters, the good fighters, out of these programs. You know, you'll have
that's
the
what the
Bellator.
UFC was doing.
Yep.
He was cleaning up all.
They're
he was draining their camps.
They're cannibalizing. They're cannibalizing his camps. And back in the day in boxing, before they had the Muhammad Ali Act, you know, they had this whole Muhammad Ali Act and things like that. They were doing that too. A promoter would come with more money and would pull from these other promoters and take them because they could. But now it's harder to do that. But they would take, and then they would leave these high and dry, and then that's how the whole Midwest boxing scene happened.
Yeah.
There was some talent here in the Midwest some years ago, but all these big promotion companies took them, and now we're stuck with shit. You know, in Des Moines, Iowa, you got a guy that's 25-0. He goes to Atlantic City for the first time. He gets shit beat out of him by some Mexican that's 14-16.
I mean, I guess.
We call that the Dana Rosenblatt syndrome.
You know, there ain't no way of getting around it. I mean, at the end of the day, but I tell everybody that's your boss. You know,
Somebody's got to write the check.
yeah, and you know, even when everybody went back to the Don King part, you know, like Mike Tyson, he took Mike Tyson. No, he made Mike Tyson still $300 million, and Don King was the boss of Mike Tyson. I mean, so like, you know, he's putting that show on, and without Don King, Mike Tyson ain't.
They're not doing nothing.
You know.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Jacobs and they were doing good. They were bringing money in for him, and Don King stole him right out from under him. You know what I mean? He started that whole white men are the devil thing, and started that whole, you know,
On that whole Suge Knight.
fucking strong arm him in, you know. Chauncey Welliver, Kelly said, not really a question, but a statement. But I think Kelly was potentially the savior of boxing. He had a great team and is highly underrated as being one of the hardest punchers in history. I wish he had been let in on the Super 6 tournament. I thought he'd clean up. Congrats on a great career, Kelly.
Oh, thank you, man. I truly appreciate it. Yeah, the Super 6 was kind of, you know, I was interested in it, but I was still at middleweight when that tournament started taking place. And then also, I mean, getting into the business part of boxing, I mean, them guys really didn't make the potential money that they should have been making for that.
You told us this story before, but I'm glad you're clarifying again. It was more of a...
Yeah, it was almost like the Contender Series.
Yeah, but like you said, it was kind of, hey, I can stay where I'm at and make a paycheck. Or
I was still middleweight.
Yeah.
They're only making $100,000 until they fought the final fight.
Yeah, until they fought. Yeah, so they're fighting all
So it
these.
really wasn't worth prolonging.
Fighting Andre Ward for $100,000. Get the fuck out of here.
Listen, I mean, I love boxing, and I fought the people out there. You know, I mean, I took the dangerous fights, but at the same time, man, boxing. I mean, unless you're just up here, not mentally straight. But if I'm going to fight these motherfuckers, I'm going to get paid too. I mean, you know, as a kid, I mean, you want to be financially. I don't want to be sitting there going, "Oh, can I get a quarter from McDonald's?"
Yeah.
You know, like it's true. It's
Eating baby food.
yeah. I mean, it's a business.
I got new shoes.
But that's it, Charles. I mean, that was a good question. But yeah, I mean, I was middleweight, and I was not planning at that point, you know, to go to super middleweight. And unfortunately, though, in a weird way, middleweight became to a point where just like the body said, asshole, you're not middleweight, man. And if you try to make it, this is what's going to happen. And then the super middleweight had just started when I did make a jump to super middleweight. It wasn't the plan, but that's where naturally my body weight took me. I mean, I was 27, 28 years old, 6'2". But yeah, that's definitely a good question. And now that I think about it, it would have been great to fight him. But
tell some of the people out there. I mean, I've been around your training camps a lot about the weight cutting aspect of it. Like, I've watched you spit in a can all day because you couldn't swallow your own saliva.
He still does it.
Because, I mean, well, you know, just because you had to.
I know.
The body was so.
Yeah, but the spitting in a can.
20 pounds.
You know what's sad about that? That actually came to an end. You know, doing all that shit. I had nothing in my body.
I remember,
like you know, like I couldn't even spit no more.
That's what I'm saying. It's just
the Martinez fight again. Nobody, unless they were in that camp, and you know, Larry Merchant and the guys, the commentators from analysis from HBO mentioned it during the fight. If you go back and YouTube it, they mentioned about the treadmill. I mean, I've seen guys have a hard time making weight, but I never heard commentators go on about how hard it was. Yeah, but these commentators for that fight had no problem mentioning on air about the stationary bike and the treadmill in my room.
Yeah.
We couldn't go to sauna no more. We had a doctor come in that we brought in for that camp too, and there was a little thing by jumping in cold water and then going into the sauna.
Yeah.
It shocked and helped open the pores. But there was nothing in the body.
I mean, yeah, when there's nothing left, there's nothing
what
left.
resorted was to just try to burn whatever calories.
Do you think
we
that
had.
was
Bro, I've seen
breakdown?
I've seen fighters.
It was horrible.
I've seen fighters take a diuretic, a whole fucking X-Lax.
Oh yeah.
Get in a hot tub of Epsom salt, lay in there and shit themselves in there just to pull that extra weight up. I said, you disgusting motherfuckers.
But see, even that, like with that, and that's true. If I would have done that for the Martinez fight, I would have been dead in that. They would have found me dead floating in that water. It was shit.
Kelly and Elvis died in their own shit.
No, that's the point. That's the point that it came down to with the Martinez. I mean, how many guys the people that went to the Bronco McCart fight? I mean, right there, we kind of started knowing, but we changed the strength and conditioning program for that fight. That's why that one, and that wasn't nowhere near as bad as the
like
Martinez.
You're saying, you fought going up in weight you knew the inevitable was coming, so
yeah.
Every fight,
Again, what I say with the Martinez fight was that I wish if I could go back and do. I should have just came in at 161, which would have made. I mean, you're talking about 4 to 5 hours of being drained and not exercising at all, or even 160 with 2.5. I mean, I would have gave them 250,000.
Yeah.
Take my belts. Mm-hmm. Who cares? Because I'm not fighting at middleweight no more, anyways. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and if I would have done that, you would have seen a totally opposite fight. But it is what it is, and now for me, if I continue in training fighters and shit like that, these are all learning experiences that I take with me as far as,
what to do.
Yeah,
like even in the martial arts setting and wrestling, it's like I said, it's the same way. I don't think the people out there really truly understand what you go through, you know. And then you get in the ring and you lose, and he sucks.
But you get, you get people with dieting, and that's a real good point. But you get, like, people have to understand too, like, you're gonna, no matter how good of a camp you have, usually it comes down to a period of time where you're going to dry out before weighing.
Yep.
Okay, because fighters fight at the lowest weight class, to their potential, and you're still going to dry out. So what's huge about training camp and knowing how to do it is making sure throughout the camp, though, that you are not depleting your body and you're still getting enough in. It's kind of like a science breakdown of your camp comes down and how the nutrition comes down and how you equal it out and how you get down to that weight. And you are going to dry out, but as long as you don't deplete your muscles ain't been depleted for a period of time, and then the rehydration. And I'm going to say this, and not because my dad was a phenomenal nutritionist. Again, to be 6'2" to make 160
and
for how many fights?
Time.
And I'm talking about for all the Jermaine Taylor fights, the Gary Lockett fights, and all of them, I got down to 160 and not only made 160, but I was one of the highest volume punchers in the middleweight division, and I was always in tip-top shape by him doing my nutrition. And that's, I mean, the proof is there. I mean, how many punches I threw around, how I got myself up, making the weight. So, and I learned along with him how to do it. And my dad actually was just common sense and a little bit of studying on it. He didn't have to have a degree. I mean, some of these people get a little too excited with these fucking degrees and shouldn't and it. And, he didn't. And you don't.
What changed that regimen, or what was it brought by the somebody up in top rank?
Again, you start, because it was getting a little harder, and that's going to happen. Again, 6'2", and I don't got a small frame.
And age?
Yeah, age. Yeah, 28, getting close to 30. It's not a small frame, and then of course, everybody throws in the shit, and then
so they were trying to keep you at
160. Yeah. So my dad was my dad was.
They knew.
My dad was one of these people that, not like how other fathers get involved. My dad just sat back and what was best for me. And my dad said, you know what, if you guys all feel that this is what needs to be done, I had no problem for that. Because say, hey, listen, I don't care who you are. Nobody wants to, when they work, have a side job and fucking cook 3-4 times a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wasn't getting money for that food or anything else. The money went to my trainer, who paid my sparring partners and housed them. We didn't see any of that training money.
No, and no telling how much they kept. But
exactly.
You don't know. But also something I want to touch about too. I brought up the Super Six, make $100,000 and take it to the finals of each fight. And then I said, I don't fight fucking Ward or Abraham for $100,000. And they said, fuck, I would. Well, let me explain how this works. And Kelly is here too. You don't make $100,000. You don't make $1 million. When you're a pro fighter, your expenses are a lot more than you're making in. You go out, you make $100,000. Let's just say you made a $100,000 purse. First of all, 33 1/3% of that, at most, will go to that manager. Not always. I said at
I had the lowest bad.
You did have a
shit,
but yours was rare because your manager didn't house you. He didn't pay your expenses, so you don't have that. But for most fighters, that's not the case. They do pay 33 1/3. No. Okay, you're paying your trainer 10%, anywhere from 10 to 15%, anywhere from that.
My total payout, what's crazy, not to interrupt, my total payout was what most fighters just paid their manager alone. That was my total payout.
Yeah.
With everything, was 30%.
I know, that's good though. But you got that, then you got taxes. If you're not fighting Vegas, you got taxes. No. And you got taxes of the city you're from, and also the city you're fighting in, your state you're fighting in. And then you're paying, some of the times you're paying for your sparring partners if your promotion's not taken care of.
Okay, see, this is what I got into about, why I laugh with Broner. I got to say it because it's funny.
Well, your $100,000 becomes $40,000.
Yeah, he says, like all about billions and stuff like that. And his biggest that by the time he pays that entire entourage, that entourage is just taking money.
Oh yeah,
and everything else, and he has not made. I don't think he made a $6 million payday.
No, I think his biggest payday was like 1.75.
That's what I'm saying.
And it wasn't 1.75 because he has 7 fucking kids. You know how you pay child support.
Yeah, and if you ain't paying it, they're taking it.
They're paying it from it. But that child support comes out before the check even gets cut.
Some of these guys just don't understand, man. Like they don't, It's great to have people, somebody around you that actually cares and watches and knows and guides you and explains to you.
Him and Mikey made $1 million each. Correct. Mm-hmm. They made $1 million each.
Walking away.
No, they grossed.
Okay. Now they still have.
They made it netted $400,000. Well, I know Mikey maybe netted a little more because he has less responsibilities. I mean, obviously, Yeah. They have their own internal camp. He's not having to go outside of camp like Broner had to go to Colorado Springs and bring his sparring partners in and all this. Mikey has a full camp at his house. He has a home with 11 acres and buildings and everything else. So everybody, and then they have enough fighters where they don't have to go out and get sparring partners because they have a whole stable of fighters. So I'm sure Mikey brought in, what do you think, $500,000?
Probably.
And what Broner, about 350?
It's not my place to talk about.
No, I know it's not a place, but I'm trying to.
Damn, man, you are just get into these people's business.
Let me tell you why.
man.
Because people think that they make a lot of money. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is these fighters are making a shit ton of money, and it's not the truth.
No, I mean,
These guys to make $1 million have to fight 4 fights at $1 million a fight.
Exactly.
Or twice a night.
Well, you know what?
2 in 1 night.
I'm trying to explain to some people.
Well, it's like these people that walk around with their nose in the air because they make because they make $8,000 a year, and I'm like, motherfucker, we have take out. Okay, go look at your house. Just your mortgage on a house, to run your house, you know, and everything else, and just take your grocery bills throughout the year, and
yeah, you know,
walking around.
I don't want to sound like I'm in their business, but what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to put it out there that these fighters don't make the money that you think.
Yeah.
They, you know, Ward made $8 million. Really? He may have made $8 million, but he didn't bring home $8 million. He didn't bring home $5 million.
I'm not going to talk about the purse of what Broner made, but when we walked through the thing, we had the credentials to go to the media.
Yeah.
Put it this way: he owns 2 cars that were worth more than what he made for that fight.
Yeah.
So that goes to tell you
What he's spending his money
what,
on.
and a couple months or
He had
a year.
There was a hypercolor,
Yeah.
Rolls Royce. You remember hypercolor?
They change.
It changes color when you look at it.
Yeah.
It went from gold to purple to blue to brown, and then there was 50 cents.
Yeah, but I mean, it is a thing,
man.
you know. You don't, but then you get into the guys though that do make very good money.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, it's always been lower weight classes don't make what
No.
you know the higher make. You know, Andre Ward and Kovalev made some serious money their last fight. You know.
Well, look at Carbajal. Carbajal, how many fights? 50.
Yeah.
Didn't make over $5 million his whole career.
Wow.
And he's a Hall of Famer, all-time world champion.
Yeah.
But it was just the way that the person was set up. If you were 108 pounds, you're gonna make $50,000. You're gonna make $60,000. You know.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you're a big draw, you should.
Yeah, but nobody watched the little weights back
Yeah,
then.
but nobody. Yeah.
Heavyweight division was prime. The middleweight division.
Kind of still to this day, besides the fact of Lomachenko and the Rigondeaux, and even probably Mikey Garcia, but still, I mean, even compared to your Triple G's and Andre Wards, I mean, they're still not as so. You don't get the following as much.
Lomachenko's not even making what people would think.
No.
Lomachenko's, you know, he's in the millions too, but $1 million range. There's a cutoff that these promotions will pay. You know that there's pretty much that. What happens is Kelly.
It's not what the promoters would pay either. It's what
networks.
It's what the networks are going to throw in a pot for the promoter to disperse.
Yeah,
you know,
the network will say we only have $3 million for this whole show. Make it happen.
Their budget.
You got $3 million. You got to figure out how to divide $3 million up between
all the
6 cards. You know what I mean?
I hope
6
that you got a
fighters.
good gate.
Yeah.
And then
some of these, I think from the last I heard, but some of these bigger time arenas, especially like Vegas, that's why I was so big for a while. They also, along with the network front, what do you call that? What do you call that when they do that? Like for the purse.
purse bid.
Well, yeah, but they front out the money. You know, they'll pay to have the show.
They bond it. They put those bonds out.
To have the show at their arena. I mean, because you go back and you figure you get a Mayweather Pacquiao fight, they don't care. They'll put out $2 million, on top of with the network.
Just to drag.
To bring people in to come there and gamble.
Well, yeah, and a lot of them will do what they call bonds now. They will bond these events, like insure them. So if the show don't make the money, that insurance will cover that on the back end for these casinos and things like that. You know what I mean?
Site fees. Okay,
site fees,
fee. Yeah, like that's the word I'm looking for. Usually promoters at local shows or something not as big, or like at a UNLV, they'll pay the site fee. You'll have to pay the arena or wherever they're having it, as where the MGM, Mandalay Bays.
For them to make money.
Yeah, they don't. They want you to the guys to drink and go gamble.
Exactly, and I was reading an article. The UFC does it too, and boxing does it. They take out insurance, because you can take out insurance on anybody. They take out insurance on the fighter that's fighting, right? Whatever the insurance is, and then the fucker gets hurt. They collect on the insurance and don't give shit to that fighter. Yeah. They collect. You got Magomed. You got a guy like Magomed or Cologne that's fucked up now, or Twitch, that I'm sure they took out some insurance policy before they fought. and then these guys are struggling to get money to pay their medical bills, but they done collected on their
How do you
insurance.
collect? I mean, what if I was to take an insurance policy out on somebody, but I barely know him?
Bro, you can take an insurance policy on anybody.
And I'm like, hey, he's hurt.
Do you know how many of your employers have took insurance policies and you didn't know?
Oh, I'm sure.
And they do that. As long as I have your social security number, I get a policy on you.
Yeah.
And you make your premiums. Your dad would be more of an expert on that than we would. But it's been going on. And they were and fighters have been talking about that. Like, look, UFC, they fucking policy on me. If I get fucked up, they're gonna pay out and I ain't gonna get shit.
Yeah.
What if there's something you can
It's a meat market, you know what I mean?
Oh,
It's a flush for sale business.
You brought up something that was tickling my mind a little bit when you said, as far as the old, the old regime of the boxing days.
Yeah.
As far as the venues in Vegas, trying to get people to come to Vegas. Like, do you feel that people are over that whole scene? Like, we're going to Vegas, nothing new. Do you think there would be another state or another venue, like a park or somewhere different, that somebody can come up with a new arena for a new draw, a new generation?
Macau, China is like that now.
Well, now
Yeah,
you're talking,
but Vegas just
in
built.
the United States.
Oh, in the United States?
Vegas just built that arena, not attached to any hotel,
Yeah.
because of the Vegas is always going to be a fight town,
Yeah.
fight city. I mean, they like I say, they just put that's a beautiful arena they just built for it. And you got places like this Barclays Center, which is
Beautiful.
getting big fights and is beautiful. It goes, a lot of it goes off of location, geographics of the fighter,
Well,
where they're
Hi,
from.
Beatrice. Hi, Prima.
What's a nice spot you
Hey,
think
Leland.
that, like, man, this is away from the Vegas, this is away from the gambling
Me
industry.
at Atlantic City because of
up,
the draw to
Albert?
promoters mainly like me and Vegas. But I think the reason why the rematch was where it was at was because of the fact that the big fight was so big, and then it sells better to hear a fight in Vegas at this point. Maybe back in the 60s and 50s and 70s, Atlantic City would have been huge for a pay-per-view because it was huge back then on the East Coast for fights. But you're talking about they moved the second fight. They're probably saying, well, if we're going to put this on pay-per-view, let's let them hear that it's in Las Vegas, Nevada at the MGM and the
Vegas
first
on
fight.
there.
So that's probably why the second fight was there, not for the amount of people, but for the pay-per-view sales.
Well,
Okay. And
I
then
mean-
you've seen how after that, when I went back to regular premium network like HBO, against Rocket Locket and Hopkins and everything else, it was back in Atlantic City where the crowd came, where the followers came.
That's where your more hardcore is going to go, is back east anyway.
Yeah.
But, when people say boxing's dead and things like that, you compare it to the 1950s, 60s, yes, boxing is dead. Because back in the 1950s and 60s, 70s even, fucking boxing was on regular TV. People would get home from work, they'd run home. This is what a lot of older people tell me. They'd rush home to go watch the Schick, the big series of boxing, or the Schlitz
Yeah.
Thursday night fights,
What was the one they had on Saturday morning? Wild World of Sport?
Yeah. And you see Benitez and Leonard fight.
Yeah.
But these guys would have like the shit, and they'd get home and they'd get in their fucking best outfits and they'd fucking booze.
We were just talking about the other day. It's funny you said it. That society doesn't dress up or care
No.
anymore, man. It's like that was a big thing.
It was a big thing.
Friday night fights.
Yep.
Kids are dressed, guys in top hats.
At
Ladies
the
are all
house.
looking good.
Yeah, even at the
Bars,
house.
restaurant- yeah.
And then people would be out there having drinks, and the kids,
You got dudes in cut-off
barbecue.
shorts, sleep.
Exactly.
You said
It was a
tap
big-
out shirts.
Yeah, big fucking. It was a big
That's
fucking
you.
deal.
That's you on the
I want to clarify this. I've never ever worn anything tap out.
Just affliction.
There's affliction.
No. I've never worn affliction.
American Fighter.
I had one affliction shirt.
American Fighter.
Maybe two. Maybe I had a pack.
Kelly's.
But I never was big.
I
on
believe
that.
you. I believe you.
I like to wear shit that nobody has. Like even when I started wearing Venom,
Yeah.
before next thing you know, everybody at the gym's got Venom.
You mean like your elect D. Genova for Judge shirt?
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead do a plug for my buddy Damien DeGenova running for Struthers Municipal Judge.
All right, guys. Vote.
You got Twitter?
Vote for D. Genova.
Tweet the show out now. And to all his followers too.
Well, I mean,
But also, but back then in the 1950s, 2 million people watched the fight. That don't sound like a lot of people, but not everybody had a fucking TV in the 50s and 60s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, radio was fucking huge.
Yeah.
Then
And I mean-
then a left.
Yeah.
I don't like I ain't right. But times have
And go
changed.
back.
I
You
could
go
be
back
a
ropes.
like,
Times have changed,
no, that's true.
And well, I don't think boxing has that same bite it used to have. I mean,
Well, that was the gladiator sport back then. You either went to the military or you went to the ring, and that was how you.
Yeah.
You
Well,
fought down in the
people
alleys.
were fucking tougher too, though.
well, men were men back then.
That's
Let's be
what I'm
honest.
saying, yeah.
There was no
Exactly.
safe spaces or fucking what,
no.
or
Archie
people's
Bunker, yeah.
or people's feelings or multiple
I even God,
sexes.
man, I go back and watch that movie, Cinderella, man, and
Yeah.
my God, just that's how you're right. That's how it
Motherfucker out
was,
there
yeah.
working in the mill and shit, trying to make
Everybody
buck.
was.
Like you said, now these guys are going to work, coming training, and winning world titles. Now you got these kids nowadays.
I mean, I was talking about like my dad was telling me about his mother and his grandparents and how they lived. He's like, these people came home from working their ass off at the steel mills and everywhere else, and they had chicken coops in the backyard. So it was like, motherfucker, man, hey, what are you gonna do when you get home? What do you guys eat? I don't know, man. I'm gonna go home and catch a bunch of fucking chickens in the backyard and cut them up and put them on,
So it's more work.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's where times have changed, man. Or
Yeah.
pick my garden and can. Yeah,
What's
we're
up,
gonna,
Jeremy? How you
we're
doing?
gonna can fucking tomatoes for spaghetti sauce for next month. It's
It's true.
yeah.
I had a buddy. His dad was one of those old school motherfuckers. He worked in a foundry. You know those foundries that they make pipes, like metal piping and stuff. Worked hard. That motherfucker came home, had a fucking heart attack. Didn't know it was a heart attack, and just said, "Give me a Gatorade." Drank the Gatorade and laid on the floor. It took like the next day before they actually made him go to the hospital. Found out he was having a massive heart attack. But he just drinking Gatorade, thinking he was having indigestion. They don't make people like that.
I don't mind acting like that no more. I got sauce.
Oh my God! Take me in.
Fucking crippled. Give me the Robitussin something.
It takes me 20 minutes to get out of bed anymore.
But I mean, I used to see my dad. My dad get boozed up the night before, boozed up till like 4 a.m, throw up in the front yard and go to work. I'm like, how the fuck these motherfuckers do that? If I booze up like that, if I was to booze like that, I'd be down that whole day and the next day too.
Oh yeah.
But they booze, throw up the yard, get in the car, drive drunk to work,
Oh.
At times, it's totally different.
and then ask you why you're not in school on a Saturday. Why are you not in school?
Wrong day, Pop. Wrong day.
Yeah, no, at times it's totally different. But okay, so as far as that goes, again, guys, today I think we tapped on the Broner Mikey Garcia fight as much as we possibly can. Don't want to beat a dead horse in the head.
What do you got coming up? What do you guys got coming up?
That's what I was getting into. We're hoping right now. Next week, I know we got Chrissy Martin and Karen Tate.
Chrissy Martin was the WBC champion.
One of the
Biggest-
starters of female boxing.
Biggest stars out there.
Yeah, really brought attention to the women boxing.
Fought on Chavez and Mike Tyson undercards for years.
So we got that, and Kristen Tate, we had her on, and it's very
Karen?
interesting. Or Karen Tate.
Author.
Arthur and everything else is a really interesting guest, and it kind of breaks up the monotony of boxing all the time. And then, of course, not guaranteed yet, but looking really good to having guys like Paul Malignaggi and Sean Porter and Robert Garcia and Mikey Garcia. So
I'd like to get a little FaceTime, like you said, with Matt Brown on there.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
yeah, we may even sneak that in. We're going to talk
We'll
to
sneak
Matt
Matt
Brown
in,
and we've already had him on the show also, and great interview, and I love
We
listening
can
to
throw
him.
Matt in
I love the
Tuesday
way
if you want.
he makes the show exciting. He's a funny dude too. When I say about funny, not like he's so straightforward and blunt, and you don't get too many people like that anymore.
And he understands both sports, boxing
Yeah.
and MMA. He's a fan of both.
So that's what we're looking at.
Well,
so it's going to be interesting.
Well, we're also tentatively heading to the Canelo and Triple G fight in Vegas in September. Or tentatively, we'll see how the whole credentialing works. Credentials aren't guaranteed. It's basically who you know and who you are.
Exactly.
And one thing we have is Kelly, so we'll see. But I think it looks good. I mean,
But it depends on the promoters too. So
yeah, it depends.
It's kind of hard to really go. We're just getting going with the podcast, and like you got like 11,000 followers, and you just started like you're 5 months into the show compared to like these other big time writers for boxing. I got
So you hear that,
8 million.
people out there in video land? We need all the followers we can get. Go ahead, pass the word.
Yeah. We're gonna bring our
Punchline.
podcast show to this. Give us ground seats.
Yeah, I mean, we could use all the support we can. We're not asking for money, or we're just asking for time. That's it.
Time.
And we do have some some merchandise. We have some shirts and some things like that, some backpacks. That if anybody's
The
interested,
main thing is we got the real show though. It's the real deal.
We do.
You're hearing shit that you're not going to hear from many others. So
I'm not afraid of. We're not afraid to piss people off. We tell about what really goes on behind the scenes in boxing. You're not going to get that from other shows. You're going to get what happened in the ring or opinions. You're not going to get, facts. It's not every day you get to sit with a world champion and ask him things about what really goes on in business. It educates you and educates all of us too.
Yep. So, well, with that being said, I'd like to thank Dave Schaefer again on the show.
Look at that.
Interesting. James, thanks. And
You're welcome.
you guys will be hearing from us next week. Peace.